Hi everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to show you today how to make some paper beads. And these are beads that are really easy to make. You can make out of all different kind of scrap paper. We actually get a bunch in some of our stores from Haiti, and it goes towards a missions group there. But you can also make them yourself. It's a fun craft to do with kids. It's a fun thing to do in your spare time, and it's a great way to use up some spare paper. In order to do this, we're going to need a couple materials. We have to have some paper. I'm just using some extra paper that came out of an old calendar. You have a ruler and a pen and a skewer here. You can use a toothpick, you can use a thin knitting needle, it's kind of up to you. I'm just using the skewer. In addition to that, we have scissors that we're going to use to cut our paper. We have some glue. This is a glue stick, or you can use the washable glue method. So you need one of these two. With kids, glue sticks work the best. I like the hold better of the washable glue, so you can do either when you're making them. And then finally for the outside, it's an option that you can use some nail polish. Whether or not you use clear nail polish or nail polish with sparkles or anything, that's up to you. But these are the materials that we're going to use in order to create our paper beads. So depending on what size paper beads you want to make, that's going to determine kind of how you use your ruler and your pen in order to draw. At the very base, when you're measuring, that is going to be the width of your bead. So if you're looking at kind of the corner of a piece of paper, wherever you measure here is going to be the width of the bead. The first thing I like to do is to start an angle on my paper, because the paper has a straight side. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my ruler, I'm going to draw right along it, and that's going to give my first starting angle right there. So I'm actually going to discard this first piece that I have because it's not in a triangular shape. You can keep it too with kids. It's fun to kind of use all your materials. Then I'm going to draw my next line. And when I draw my next line, I am going to draw it so that I have a nice thin piece, because I don't want my bead to be very large. So I'm going to go up to that point there. And I'm going to draw it on the angle. And have that. Then you can do your next one, and you can go right along the line, making the beads different sizes, making the beads different lengths too. The longer and more narrow your beads that you're doing, the bigger and fatter your bead's going to be. So as you're doing this and you're going nice and narrow, if I was going the length of the paper, my beads are going to be fatter and a little bit bigger because I'm going to be using more paper. So that's going to determine how long and how big you want your beads. Once I have my lines drawn, and you can do, like I said, all different paper. Wrapping paper works really well if you're getting ready for Christmas or you have a birthday coming up. Wrapping paper scraps work really well. I'm just going to cut right on the inside of those lines that I made. And I'm cutting on the inside, that way I don't see any of my lines. I'm just cutting right along. And you can make your beads, like I said, all different lengths, all different sizes, all different textures. You can even use textured papers. When I was little, I did these with my aunt with church bulletins where you can see some words on the outside. I've seen some people doing them with different books as well. So there I have two of my triangles that I'm going to, my very long triangles that I'm going to make my beads out of. At this point, I'm going to get ready with my skewer and my glue stick. So it's a great idea if you're working with kids to put down some wax paper or to put down a surface that's wipeable. I'm going to go right on the table here, and I'll wipe off my table then. And what I'm going to do is take my popsicle stick to the very end of the paper, and I'm just going to fold that in half right at the base. I'm going to make a crease in it so that way it stays in place. And then the paper is going to come in the opposite direction. So I folded this first piece towards the left, and then my paper is going to come to the right. Before my paper comes to the right, what I need to do is grab my glue. If you're using the regular Elmer's glue or Target brand method, what you can do is make this little decoupage by adding a little bit of water to it and then paint it on with a paintbrush. With the glue stick, all I'm going to do is take the glue stick and I'm going to run it right along the paper, the whole way from the base to the tip. If you get some blobs in it, that doesn't matter. You're going to be pushing them out as you lay it down. You want to make sure not to get any glue on your skewer, because that way it'll stick to your skewer, and when you go to rip the bead off, you won't be able to get it off. Now that I have that on there, I'm going to create that crease again. And an easy method to do is to actually roll the skewer right along. And as I roll the skewer, I just want to make sure that my paper kind of stays in the middle and I'm getting my design. I'm also giving a fair amount of pressure to the bead as I roll it. That way it's getting rid of any of those glue bumps, as well as it's getting the bead to hold together really nicely. So there's going to be my first bead. At the end still, I go through and kind of roll out the paper. The last thing I'm going to do is actually glue the whole outside of this. So there's two methods that you can use for that. Again, you can use your Elmer's glue watered down a little bit, or you can use your glue stick if you're going with kids. When I've done them with kids, I've used the glue stick method. The other method that holds together really well and makes it a little bit waterproof is using nail polish. For the nail polish, I just open it up. This one happens to have sparkles in it. I'm borrowing my daughter's. And I have the project still on the skewer, and I'm going to be going the whole way around the outside of the bead and painting basically the nail polish on it. You can use clear as well. If you're using a clear paper and want to get a color, you can also use a sheer color of nail polish. Right there at the very end, I'm going to make sure that I really get that down. Kind of push down that last bead. If you are working with kids to do this, or somebody that's not all that crafty, you may want to take it off the skewer first in case they're going to glue it to the skewer, or in case they're going to nail polish it to the skewer. And in that case, I usually just put it on a coat hanger bent out, and that's how they dry really nicely and really easily. Once you have your bead, you're just going to let it dry on there then, and at the very end, you're going to slip it off the skewer. Because I'm going to have this, because I have nail polish on this already, I'm just going to let it hang out there a little bit, and I'll get ready to do another bead. Again, I'm starting out with a new piece of paper. I've moved that one off actually onto my bead reamer to dry. So that's why it's a good idea to move it off your skewer, especially if you only have one, because if you want to make another one right away, you don't have it on the skewer then. And again, like I said, I use a wire coat hanger a lot, or just a piece of like 18 gauge wire. You can line it up in between two glasses or two cups or two coffee mugs that you can just link it onto the sides and line them up to dry on that wire. Again, I'm getting ready to start another bead. I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to fold it simply over my skewer, creasing it there at the bottom because that's going to hold it in nice and tightly. Going in with my glue. If you're going in with your decoupage mix, then you're going to go in with a paintbrush. I'm going to go the whole way down to the end there and really glue that down well. Then I'm going to be rolling that paper right along my skewer. Again, pushing down as I roll, so that way I get it nice and tight. You can also pick it up and kind of roll it in your hand, making sure again that that's rolling nice and tightly, and that it's staying to the middle. The nicer you get your triangular shape of your initial cut, the nicer your bead is going to be. I'm rolling that around the whole way. If that tip's sticking up a little bit, I'm going to take some glue too, kind of glue that down in place. You can run the glue between your fingers too, along the skewer, just making sure that that stays in place. Then I can move it off and move it somewhere to get my nail polish on, or I can just keep it and let it dry the simple way that it is. So there's two different methods that you can use. With the different color here, you can see those beads really shine. Once they're finished and once they're all done, it's fun too, like I said, to do all the different shapes and different sizes, and you can kind of mix different colors together. You can string them on a simple strung necklace or bracelet. This one just has some 6OC beads in between, and it's actually on stretchy string that it gets doubled or singled for a necklace. So hopefully you enjoyed this fun little craft, and it's, like I said, a great craft to do with both adults and kids. If you have something that's really memorable, it's a great idea for a gift too. That if somebody's in a performance or something happens in their life that you have a program for, you can take that program, cut it apart, and you can make them some really memorable jewelry out of those items. It's a great way to recycle materials and a fun, easy afternoon project that you can do with the kids as well. So thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this craft project, and also check out the rest of our projects on YouTube. And check us out on Facebook too at the Potomac Bead Company or the Bead Co. If you need materials, you can shop online at thebeadco.com. Thanks a lot for watching.